be afraid. I'll tell you a story. Should I tell you a story? I've said that story before, but some of us may not have heard it before. There was a poor man who was begging. And whilst he was begging, he was sitting by the roadside. And a rich man passed by the place. And the rich man asked him, what do you like? The man said, I want money. He said, what will you use it for? He said, for buying bread. And then the rich man said, okay, fine, I'll give you bread. The rich man went home. He took a bar of gold, cut the bread, and placed the gold in the bread and closed it, and came and gave it to the poor man and said, look, this bread, if you eat the bread, your life will change. So make sure you eat the bread. The poor man said, sure, I will eat the bread. When the rich man left, the beggar sold the bread with the gold without looking into the bread, what was inside. Then the rich man passed by the next time and said, young man, the bread I gave you, have you eaten it? He said, oh, sure, I ate it. The rich man said, no, if you ate this bread, you will not be sitting here. He said, no, I didn't. I ate the bread. The rich man said, are you sure? Then the rich man said, okay, fine, I'll give you another bread. He said, sure. Guess what? The rich man went and took another bar of gold, placed the gold in the bread, and brought the bread to the beggar. The beggar immediately saw the bread. Somebody was passing by. He said, oh, bro, I'm selling bread. The same guy who bought the first bread and went home and found out that the bread was not actually bread. It was actually gold. Came back and said, hey, bro, the bread you are selling, do you have some? I want to buy again. The man said, oh, I just received fresh one. He said, oh, this one, the last time you gave me 2 cedis. This one is 5 cedis. The man said, don't worry, I'll give you $100. And he gave the guy $100, took the bread with the gold inside away. The third time, the rich man saw him, said, no, did you eat the bread? The guy said, I ate the bread. He said, if you ate the bread, how are you here? He said, oh, no. Then he even got angry and said, you, this small bread you are giving me, you are angry at me. Why this small bread? Next time if you don't want to give me. The man said, no, the bread I gave you, you can't eat this bread and sit here. Then guess what? The rich man did the same thing for him for the last time. The same guy who came to buy the bread, came back again. This time he was driving a Mercedes Benz. And he said, bro, Charlie, do you have some bread? He said, oh, I just got some again. And the man said, Charlie, this one there, hey, God has blessed you. He said, oh, yes, by the grace of God. He didn't know that the Mercedes the man was driving was his own Mercedes. If you don't have the right mind in your mind and you don't think right, you will be begging somebody you'll be begging the one who you should have been giving. And that is the problem of Africa. The very white man we should have been giving him loan is giving us loan, because the very things God has given us, we have not taken time to look into the bread to see whether there is gold or there is aluminium inside. The rich man came back and looked at the young man's face and said, you are a fool. The man said, are you insulting me? He said, I will insult you today, I will insult you tomorrow. You are a fool. He said, why? He said, 3 times have I put gold in your bread. I hid the gold there. I hid it there and I was giving it to you. And you said you would not take. You took it and you sold it. And I knew that if I would have given you the gold back direct, other nations will fight over it for you. And so I deliberately put it inside the bread, that if you were truthful with yourself, you would have seen that there was a bar of gold inside. God knows that the land was flowing with milk and honey. And if he did not put giants on the land to protect it, Israel wouldn't have come to meet it. And so sometimes God is going to package some problems, but the problems are opportunities. And so it is up to you. That is why when you are faced with a challenge and you don't know what to do, before you go to any man, go to God. Because God knows that land, there is something in there. Most of the time, we talk to everybody. We complain to everybody. The only person we have not spoken to is God, our Father. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If you look at Africa, look at the gold we have. By the way, who borrows money, who lends money to a poor man? Nobody lends money to a poor man. Anytime you are lending money to somebody, it means the person has something that he can make money from, which he doesn't have, but you can see it. So when you give him the money and he can't pay, you come and take that thing to pay for what the money you are giving him. True or false? Because no, you think IMF, World Bank, they are not Father Christmas. They are businessmen, and I don't blame them. I believe that these things should have given us rather wisdom. If you are going to possess your promised land, you must think differently. You must see the issue differently. Caleb saw opportunity. Caleb said, let's go and possess the land.